I gotta figure out a way to get a gig at the Devil's Den. I just want to be able to say, yeah, I read at the Devil's Den last night. Everybody can say that. So, when I first started this reading, it was just me, and that was fine. When Toni came into my life, it got better, just like my life got better, because I had someone to talk to after the readings were over about the minutia of everything that had happened, things that maybe the audience might not even notice about what happened during the night. And so I've been telling people since Toni has been my co-host in this reading that all of the things, all of the best ideas about the reading and to improve the reading come from Toni. I just want to acknowledge that because there are men on this planet, and I hope none of them are in the room, I'm sure there's no way any of them are in the room at the moment, who are happy to take credit for the grand ideas of the women in their lives without giving them any credit whatsoever or downplaying the amount of hard work they do. There's nobody that I know that works harder than Toni. So I just want you to know that Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic is beautiful and continues to improve because I have such a wonderful partner who can help me figure out these micro adjustments that I need to make to serve you better. So that's one thing I want you to know about Toni. We talked about, well, how should I introduce you? So we're going to do a combo. I'm going to read just part of her bio, and then I'll speak from the heart, but I will try as hard as I can to be brief once I'm speaking from the heart. Toni Librezo Luna, formerly Partington, is a poet, editor, publisher, visual artist, and writing coach living in Vancouver. She holds a BA in social work and an MA in humanities and literary editing. She's the author of 2 books of poetry, Jesus is a Gas and Windwing. Her poetry has been published in Voice Catcher editions 3 and 4, Outward Link, The Poeming Pigeon, and Perceptions, and she was the co-editor for the final print edition of Voice Catcher 6. If you don't know what Voice Catcher is, it's a great collective of women writers in Portland that still exists. It's just an online-only publication, but to my estimation, the quality of the work that is being done by Voice Catcher and being accepted by Voice Catcher has not changed at all. It is still a fantastic thing. So the women that are here should really check that out. She's the co-founder with me of Print to Matter Vancouver, and there's just, what do I say about this person who saved my ass and changed my life? She's telling me to cut it off, so not much. You all know why we're here. Half of you have the book already, so all right, let's get her up here. Toni Librezo Luna.
Goodness. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Each and every one of you. All my friends have known each other a very long time doing this poetry thing, and it means the world to me to have you all here. And Christopher, I don't know what I would do without you. My son is here. He flew in today. And I didn't know it. And I pride myself in knowing everything. I'll tell you, you guys are sneaky.
Who needs the internet when you have my mother? She knows everything.
It's true. I used to tell him that when he was little. I know everything. If you ever want to know, just ask me. Till the time in his life when he figured out that that was just a lot of hiding. I am so happy to be here. I am so happy to have this book, and I'm so happy that it's finished. Those of you who have books published, you know that it's a long, hard road because it requires so much discipline. You might love to write the poems. The poems might come easily. They might be a joy. Some of them are tough. But then, when you're going to do this and put them all together is where the challenge really gets to you. So I'm happy it's done, and I think the first thing I'm going to do after this evening is probably sleep. That would be the first thing. So there's just so many people to thank, and your names are in the book, all of you who are wondering, and also I wrote about my gratitude for this reading, for everyone who has made this the place where you've read for the first time, who have made this the place where you decided to be vulnerable, who've made this the place where you decided you could show who you are. And that means everything to me, and I'm grateful to all of you for that.
Yeah.
This poem starts out with a quote from my friend Bruce Hall. The poem is called When Poetry Chooses You. And Bruce said, "It's hard to set the world on fire with no matches. Move away from certainty to places undefined by any familiar language you may know. Take a leap. Create silhouettes of friends you've yet to meet. Discard the distance between you and any notion that keeps songs from your lips. No need to preserve what you already know. Embark on the unknown. Roll with it. Go beyond what you fear the most, to unnamed places you can't find on maps. Understand that to write is to be vulnerable. Show yourself. Sing at a decibel that awakens you. Look deep inside. Find a map back to the moment when you first dared to be brave." Miss Leah, this one's for you. It's an ode, and how many of you have read the work of Pablo Neruda? Pablo Neruda. I'll get it right. So this is after studying Neruda and really being taken by his ability to take even the most basic things, a pencil, a cup, and write an ode to that particular thing. So this is an ode to red wine, after Pablo Neruda. Radiate in the place between garnets and rubies, called claret, not so plainly red. Emboldened sweet juice, converted in wooden casks, named, prized, poured. Red, you have floated me rivers. Soaked and stained, red, I salute you, never before 3 p.m. You, the Italian lesson of my youth, held high during toasts. You, swallowed, gulped, savored. You, an old friend. You, savior of the party, the blind date, the funeral. You, smooth, bitter, holy. You, worthy of the weight, the cost. You, the communion of currants and oak, of vine, and of this woman. Becoming what I envision. Quiet. Watch. Any minute now, I'll become a red-tailed hawk. The thermals are waiting, calling me to soar slowly above open fields, turn circles on my broad wings. Look, Listen. Any minute now, I'll fly. Flight has been my only unattainable freedom. And freedom, that word humans whisper, that elusive hunger, an end to obligations weighted down by taxes, the high cost of gas, or feeling misunderstood. Listen, see me, rise above the trees in search of my next meal. I'll spare the tiny bowls with babies and the appetizers of black-capped chickadees. There must be something I won't have to kill. I'll fly, no longer held down by gravity. To me, flying is weightless dancing, barefoot and naked. The truth is, after I've become a red-tailed hawk, I'll forget that I cared about anything except soaring. Decisions will be easy, instinctual. I'll find the tallest branch, count clouds moving east, sing my own song. You know, that shrill cry of delight only I can sing. You'll look up, away from your phone, wonder if flying is for you. If you linger, we'll feel the wind and have a big talk about freedom. I can't promise that your wings won't sprout before we're through. This next one is about an event that I witnessed that had to do with religious indoctrination. It's called Shades of Blue. So pure, white cotton jumpsuit and bare feet. Her day in the pool, dunked by an uncle after prayers of holiness sent from Salt Lake City to deliver the word. Silver mirrors angled over clear water, square tiles of cerulean, cobalt, and azure allow the audience to witness glory, wet, stunned, saved. Accordion doors close, elders shield her innocence, impinged as wet cotton clings to new breast buds. Just 9 years old, she enters the sanctuary, older now after cleansing, in white polka dot dress, hem of bridal blue mesh, opaque tights, and glossy braids. She's planned the program, we're told. Speakers and songs, invited family, faraway friends, who absorbed the message, robotic and terse. Obey, marry, produce enough offspring. Did we mention obey? Is she confused by ritual when 7 men hold each other's shoulders in a closed circle around her chair? Their hands touch her head as words welcome her into the fold, and her face is uncomfortably close to their zippers. Indoctrination festers, swells the room, sticks in her throat. What will she think when down the line a man puts his hand on her head, says, obey? All in attendance are asked to write a message she will read later, alone. Mine says, believe in yourself. Dream. You can't go wrong when you follow your heart in all matters, large and small. It's trite. I want to say, don't be obedient. You will lose yourself. I was 9 once and nobody told me either. It took years for me to learn that silence is the great intoxicant. Seduces you while it burns a gaping hole in your throat. Thank you. This next poem is sort of my vision of how I try to construct a poem, and as you can tell, I am a narrative writer and I like stories, and so my poems tell these mini stories. So this one is called Along the River. The river is haunting at twilight. Ice cubes rest in the froth and laughter swells in a corner without time. Music jumps foreground to background to foreground again. Lovers lean into their whispers. Her neck long, angled, chin bent, eyes riveted on his smile. He stares, teeth gnashing with every word. It seems odd to watch their rhythm, not knowing if this moment is their first, last, or some awkward in-between chapter. History and current affairs raise the odds on endings. Then a wisp of her hair in the breeze leaves him breathless, and I see him gasp, exit the trams, check his watch. She frowns. They rise as strangers. She walks ahead out the door. I wonder their fate as he returns to rescue her hat, holds it to his face to breathe her in. I watch his longing, frame by frame, in my mind. How exquisite these smallest of gestures in our complicated world. Still, what an effort it is to see all there is to see. Each day, I wonder what I've missed. So I close my eyes to relive those moments, and with each one, a new poem. Thank you very much. The next one I'm going to do is called Queens, New York. This is Queens, New York for two voices, Shorty and Sal. The first time I saw Sal, he was on the stoop with Joey Sestola. I felt his gaze on me as I walked by and then heard the cat call.
Whoa, I like the view from here.
I tried to keep my mouth shut but couldn't. Yeah, view your mother. He laughed, turned up the music, and pulled his hat down a little lower. We met in 5th grade at PS 122. Sal sat in the back and I sat in the front. Most days he acted like I was invisible. Then one day he said,
Hey Shorty, can I walk you home? What do you say?
I felt the heat rise from my neck. He was Italian boy gritty. Hair a little too long, already a few whiskers on his chin, a wide smile, and perfect teeth. That afternoon we walked home. As he left, he asked,
Hey Shorty, want to sit outside tomorrow? I'll get cones, maybe a soda.
Funny how he called me Shorty when I was a foot taller. That was how the whole thing started. We dated all through high school. Every day after school, we walked together. We'd sit on the stoop and I'd listen as he talked non-stop.
When I graduated and heading out to California, I heard that everybody gathers in this huge park and just has a good time. They say things are changing and it's all happening in San Francisco. You should go with me. It'd be great. We could hitchhike our way out there. Wouldn't that be cool?
As Sal ranted about heading out west, I nodded, smiled, said really about 100 times. He told me everything. After each sentence he'd say,
Know what I mean? Know what I'm saying?
he'd take a deep breath and go on. Summers were the best. We'd go to the public pool. When the humidity got bad in the middle of August, he and Joey would open a hydrant. We'd stand in the water for hours, and he'd watch out for the little kids.
Hey, be careful there. Be nice.
Sal was my first kiss. I let him feel me up. He took my hand and put it in his pants. He showed me how to touch him. The skin was so soft and he was so quiet then. He wore a gold cross on a chain. After I touched him, he put it around my neck, kissed me sweetly, announced,
We're gonna get married someday.
Sal was my first love, said,
You're beautiful.
always called me Shorty, told all his friends.
Leave that one alone. She's mine.
He washed dishes at the Chinese place to get money for the prom. I thought the prom was stupid, but didn't say a thing, didn't want to hurt his feelings. On prom night, I wore a lacy black dress a little too short. Sal wore a powder blue tux he borrowed from his cousin. He pinned a corsage of small red roses on my strapless dress, and I spent the whole night keeping the dress from revealing my boobs. He just laughed, held out his hands and said,
It's okay with me if your dress comes down. I got you covered.
Sal wasn't voted the most likely to succeed or the prom king. He didn't join the debate club or the chess club. Other than his regular senior picture, his only place in the yearbook was in the Hot Rod Club beside a 1968 Chevy Chevelle, souped up, of course. He wrote in my yearbook on the page with his photo,
You'll always remember me, because I'm the best looking guy in the block. P.S. My love for you is forever.
I reread that P.S. each night when I went to bed after kissing his picture. In the summer after graduation, we saw each other every day, went to the movies, walked the neighborhood, even took the train out to Coney Island. When Sal got his draft notice, we talked about running to Canada. He was terrified and upset.
I don't even understand why we're over there. What did they ever do to me? I never even heard of Vietnam before all this. But I gotta go. My dad says dodging is the coward's way out.
That was when his mother started going to St. Michael's every afternoon to say extra prayers. Sal wrote letters as often as he could, but I got the sense that he wasn't telling me everything. After a while, his letters became stiff, almost mechanical. Then his dad called me the news. Sal didn't make it. Wasn't coming home. All I could think of was that we'd never make it out to San Francisco. Still, when the evening cools, I sit on the stoop and read his letters.
Dear Shorty, how's the old neighborhood doing? How are you doing? Last night I dreamed this war never happened. Dreamed we had a kid, a boy that looked like me. Oh, and we was married just like I said we would. I dreamed we let him play in the hydrant. I dreamed we walked him home from PS 122. I dreamed we was always smiling, Shorty. Always smiling.
Thanks, Chris. As I love the moon, for Christopher. As I love the moon, so shall I love you in all seasons. A beacon in a frozen landscape. Save me from my tattered past. Pull my tides close to shine like morning sun. As I love the moon, I shall love my future in your light, my spirit in your eyes. As I love the moon, so shall you safely hold my heart. Offer mysterious acts of compassion, a flare of truth in darkness. As I love the moon, so shall I offer you more than expected, a belief in our shared purpose, a touch 10,000 times. Thank you. I have 3 left, just like letting y'all know. I'm making time for Whitman. Making a space to hollow out a perfectly shaped lemon as seeds fall around my bare feet. I sip black tea, push hard against the news of Yoshani Vaughn, her body left on Rocky Butte, in the rain, in the cold, in the leaves and grass. I'm making time for Whitman because he knew all there was to know. I await his wisdom, answers to cloudy questions, like why did 16-year-old Parrish Bennett Jr. take Yoshani's life, hide her from family for agonizing months. I'm making time for Whitman, the father I'd hoped for, crossing Brooklyn Ferry on his way to work, back in time for supper. Sauntering the pavement to my front door, carries the news in his rumpled suit, leans over the table to ponder potatoes, 2 fingers in his thick white beard, begins the story with, "Have you heard that we are islands, every one? It's solitude that strips our humanity." I'm making time for Whitman, to translate his lists, camera and plate, connections of man, foot to the earth, same old law. Do laws keep us from harming each other, I ask? I'm making time for Whitman, as the spinning girl retreats and advances to the hum of the big wheel, as the lunatic is carried at last to the asylum. In Portland, a fist pounds a table in her grandmother's house. Innocence drowned like a feral cat midsummer. We ask whether those who defile the living were as bad as they who defile the dead. Today, I make time for Yoshani Vaughn. She needs me more than Whitman. He puts things in their attitudes. He puts today out of himself with plasticity and love. He is the answerer. The mourners seek a voice for Yoshani. She has left without final words for her mother, her brother, for all of us. Whitman said, "Justice is not settled by legislators and laws. It is in the soul." Mr. Whitman would be the first to ask, whose soul will carry Yoshani home? Thank you. It was a terrible case, and it was very hard to read about it. It was all over the papers for weeks. This one starts with a quote that I found in the Washington Post magazine, February 4th, 2001, written by Jack L. High. The quote is, "Dr. Walter Freeman believed he'd found an answer for mental illness. Nearly 3,500 operations later, his techniques were universally discredited. Today, some of his ideas are coming back." This is called 7 centimeters to the cure. Walter J. Freeman made a mark on the world with a kind face and ice picks from the Uline Ice Company. Son of a work ethic clan, loved to hike and fish, believed transorbital lobotomy would release the oppressed from the prisons of their minds. Witnessed the worst at St. Elizabeth's, 5,000 twitching in fear and shame, excrement on walls, disgust everywhere, thought it a wasteland, said confinement is the great social tragedy. His search, find the locus of mental illness, shock the brain's mystery regions, trigger seizures to the edge of death. A defect in the brain seeks a cure in his theater of torture, experiments driven by ambition. Spring 1936, Igas Moniz inspires the Nobel Prize. Believed he can remove fixed ideas from the zone between the prefrontal lobes and the thalamus, that wedge of human emotion. No informed consent required. His promise to banish the voices from beyond. Everyone agrees to the fix if it makes you love more or cry less. They willingly trade this obdurate veil of pathology for a world of dullness. Probe into the conscious brain, lead them with recitation, the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. End with agitation removed, childhood returned at any age. This surgery of the spirit made history, flung Freeman to fame, to pluck madness from the brain of Mrs. Hannett and Francis Farmer. Rosemary Kennedy was number 66 in a long line of lost casualties hidden in the hallways of Bedlam. The spirit of her soul lost forever. Stolen with assembly line medicine, 2 or 3 jolts of juice from an electroshock machine, his son held their legs until the convulsions stopped, waited until their subject was rendered unconscious. Then Dad and son took a country ride for ice cream cones. Returned to insert frozen ice picks through tear ducts, 3 taps of the hammer and spin. In 3 minutes, done. 7 centimeters to the cure. Dr. Freeman took it national on a road trip, like the carnival barkers of old selling elixirs. He became Dr. Feelgood. His motto, lobotomy, gets them home. Long Island's Beulah Jones entered Pilgrim State Hospital, one of 12 ice picked that day. Lost it all except the delusions that haunted till the end. And Mr. Jones asked, "Where's my wife now? Bring her back, please. Bring her back." By then it was no longer an operation of last resort. It was more like a Sunday drive, an elective for the maverick who chased away demons, or so they thought. West Virginia sought relief from the economics of insanity. The doctor accommodated 238 souls in 30 days. Yet no relief. Brains destroyed, the lives, collateral damage. In his final years, Dr. Walter J. Freeman drove obsessively, sought his patients one by one, but left his ice picks in the car. His pursuit, an answer to one question only. Am I a hero or a monster? Thank you. I have one more. This poem is the title poem of the book, Driven by Hope. And I was inspired to write this poem after many years of working in California in what was called the Adult Rehabilitation Center for the Salvation Army, which basically was a place in which homeless and drug and alcohol affected men, it was an all-male facility, 110 beds, were given a place to get clean and sober, to find God, and to find a trade. And I worked there first as a placement in my social work degree, and then as an employee for about another 6 or 7 years. So Driven by Hope is a poem that might give you a glimpse of some of the people that I worked with. So the dedication on this is for my clients at the ARC in Santa Ana, California, and for those who are lost and longing to come home. Starts with a quote. Some people claim a second chance and escape from extremes on swings suspended from chains in unfamiliar playgrounds. At one time or another, he had a family, a parent, a brother. Phone numbers written in ink on the palm of his hand, thanks strangers for spare change to make the call. Can I come home, Mom? Just for tonight. Someone stole my stuff when I got popped and it's cold out. The family's been here before. It never goes well. Their hope is habit forming. He looks like hell, smells foul, wants to smoke, yells, "Coffee," when he enters the house. Mom's cooked a grilled cheese sandwich, trimmed crust timed perfectly crisp and brown. He slumps on his saved seat. She takes the cup from the cupboard with DAVID in block letters painted on the side, pours it full, adds 4 sugars to half and half. Won't look in her eyes. Knows she's been crying. Soon she'll ask when he last slept, and he will lie. She will believe anything he says because her hope is habit forming. Won't eat the sandwich, can't eat anything. His stomach burns all the time. She's made up his bed, offered towels, vitamins. He spends an hour in the bathroom, lets the shower run while he sits on the floor smoking. Imagines how water will sting if it touches his body. When the house is quiet, he goes to his room, waits for her to peek in. Make sure he's in bed. He knows she blows a kiss. It fractures his already broken heart. He waits another half hour, moves to the couch, then to the floor, hasn't been able to sleep on anything soft in years. At 4, takes his brother's new parka from the closet, pockets the jar of change from the hall table, steals a check from her purse and writes, "I really can't be here. I love you. I'll call." He's out the front door and into the darkness. Mother watches from her upstairs bedroom, glad tonight that her room faces the street. This is the moment she fears. Could be the last time. She always thinks this morbid thought when he goes. He crosses the lawn, moves out from beneath the streetlight, slips behind the neighbor's lilac tree, sees her in the window. This could be the last time. He always thinks this morbid thought when he leaves. He wonders why hope is habit forming. Wonders what happened to him. Wants to hope for something else. So he hopes she'll be able to sleep. Hopes she'll be able to sleep. Hopes she'll be.
Okay, so a couple of things before we break and buy books. A couple of people I want to acknowledge. Maria Barra took the photograph of Toni that appears in the book. This is the first book by Printed Matter Vancouver with our logo contest winner, Denise Campbell, is here with us tonight. Denise, can you just wave or stand? We're very happy with the logo and happy to have it in the first book that it'll be in. Also, so many people brought flowers. I wanted to say something about that. So we would like you to know this was arranged by Field and Floral. That is a business that has made flowers for Angst and Niche before. Also, Lorraine Sawadney, Chris Maitland, and Damon, Tony's son, also brought flowers. Is there anybody that I forgot? I was trying to be accurate here. Okay, and if you like the front cover of Toni's book, I want you to know that she painted the image that's on the front cover of the book. So, yeah, very cool. So I'll be selling books over by the round table, and Toni will be wherever Toni wants to be to sign them. And we'll be back in approximately 15 minutes for more open mic. If for some reason you're not able to be with us after the break, please join us on August 8th when we'll have poets from Central Washington University. Let's hear it one more time for Toni and Grace.